How will the universe appear if planet Saturn never existed? Before we get started, let's understand who is Saturn.
अबे जल्दी बोल, कल सुबह पनवेल निकलना है.
Saturn is a planet that brings you fear, frustration, delays, depression, responsibilities, hardships, illness, pain, commitments, betrayals, loneliness, and ultimately death. Now let's assume the planet Saturn, which is causing you problems, did not exist. Now imagine the world without Saturn, that is, without fear, frustration, and responsibilities.
रुको जरा, सबर करो.
If this is what you think about Saturn, then you are mistaken. Let me clear the common misconceptions about Saturn. Without Saturn, there is no success.
अरे कहना क्या चाहते हो?
Saturn's philosophy is to reveal the reality of the world. For example, if you are cheated by someone, it is your fault because you trusted them without knowing anything about them. He just made you aware of the harsh reality of life. If you keep making the same mistakes over and over again, you will eventually face more problems. And he will act as a strict teacher, punishing you until you learn his lessons. Saturn represents fear, and there are three types of fear: fear of punishments for the past mistakes, fear of stepping out of the comfort zone, and fear of failure. So let's discuss one by one. So the first type of fear is fear of punishment for the past mistakes. The mistakes you have made in the past haunts you every time. When you do wrong things to others, it may give you happiness for a short time, but at the same time it creates some fear in your mind. You will be afraid of what if the same thing happens to you. This fear makes you a better person and prevents you from making more mistakes in the future. The second type of fear is fear of stepping out of the comfort zone. Suppose if you work for a company and you receive your monthly salary and go back to your family, you may have developed a comfort zone. You have stopped learning new skills, you are not worried about your promotions, you have no goals, you made yourself limited, and that's when Saturn gives you trouble. He gives fear of losing your comfortable job. You will have the fear of your boss, your co-workers, because you are unskilled and you depend on others. This fear brings you out of the comfort zone. You will try to improvise yourself so that nobody can replace you at the workplace.
Buying a house, buying a car, or settling down, having a good family is not a goal. That's basic. We will end up set high goals. Then I think
the third type of fear is fear of failure. Fear of failure in front of the person who doubted you. This fear will dominate your mind every day, and many questions will arise. That includes what if you die without accomplishing anything, or what if people don't respect you and your family, and many more things. And this fear brings you success. It motivates you to work harder for your goals. All of these fears have two sides, one in which you absolutely ruin yourself, and the other in which you will succeed because of this fear. Now that I have already explained how you can obtain success out of fear, let's look at how you can ruin yourself out of fear. Fear of punishments for the past mistakes can lead you to make additional mistakes in order to correct previous mistakes, and this may trap you in a loop that wastes your time and money, and this makes you even more scared. Fear of stepping out of the comfort zone. As I have already mentioned an example of working in an organization, the negative side of this fear is you will end up threatening your boss, creating problems for the organization and motivating others to hate your organization, and that's when you get fired. Saturn gave you this fear to improve yourself, but you ruined it in a negative way. And the negative side of the fear of failure is you will not take any action. You will just fear. You will just overthink it. What if people laugh at you? What if I fail miserably in front of everyone? And if this continues for a long time, you may have to go through additional difficulties and fear. And that's when depression comes in.
रोम रोम भाइयों, सिस्टम पार देंगे, सिस्टम पार देंगे.
Through this video, I just wanted to convey the true meaning of Saturn's Dasha, Sadesati, and Ashtamashani effects. Saturn just wants to say that you cannot depend on anyone. You cannot depend on your husband. You cannot depend on your wife. You cannot depend on your parents. You cannot depend on your children. You cannot depend on the organization you work in. The only person you can depend is yourself. So just try to improve your skills, your health. Don't hesitate to work hard. You should not be afraid of losing your job. Rather, your employer should be afraid of what will happen if he or she leaves the job. You should continue to improve yourself so that you do not fear losing anyone. Instead, they should fear losing you.
अच्छा चलता हूँ दुआओं में याद रखना.